Bueno, buenos días.
Hello and good morning, one and all, and thank you very much for attending today's session. My name is Bruno Lago, and I am part of the business development team in Telefónica. With me, Juanma. Today, we're gonna be hearing about cool things. So, a guy from Madrid and a guy from from Sevilla in Barcelona means something cool is gonna happen. Let's start with today's program or agenda. We'll talk about AI, or artificial intelligence, how we implement it to virtual assistants and to smart technologies. Bruno and I love demonstrations, so for sure we'll include interesting demos in this presentation. So, first, I would like to do one step backwards and speak about robotisation. Bruno, move on, please. Can you move on? Oh, here, perfect. So, all companies experience an overburden of processes due to legacy, and there's a lot of handwork, right? So we have many teams occupied doing things that could be automated. RPA, automation, all this is an adaptable and a scalable tool. So digital workers can replicate human actions, and they're going to be even much more efficient in terms of workflow management, right? And they are going to be able to work in any system. At the end of the day, robots carry out repetitive, bureaucratic tasks, monotonous tasks, volume-intensive tasks, and they will allow individuals to get rid of these boring tasks. But we need to be careful because we're speaking about robotisation, so processes need to be based on rules, right? A robot per se is not capable of interpreting things, right? A robot has no interpretation skills or subjective thinking like us human beings do. So we want to go one step forward. What happens if we want to robotize and we want to robotize conversations with users when in fact we know that the input that users will provide me is not well ordered? Automation needs to be able to happen in all channels and thus be integrated afterwards. What happens if well, like in robotisation, right? We can go from an Excel to an RP or an RP box. Perhaps I want the boot to interpret documents to interpret images, because oftentimes information does not flow in a structured manner. So I don't know, Bruno, what is it that we could do to make sure that we respond to this? Because I know that the RPA is sometimes not enough. Well, here is where artificial intelligence plays a key role. Artificial intelligence is nothing new in companies. It's been used in the security sector, in the health sector, and even in sales. According to a survey published by Deloitte regarding companies using AI, 36% of companies implement artificial intelligence or use artificial intelligence also for responding to user experience and artificial intelligence focused on business processes. So it represents, only 36% of companies use artificial intelligence for such processes. It's not bad, but there's room for improvement. There's a market there, there's a niche. So now, if we focus on customer experience, well, we have today virtual assistants, and they are here to stay, and they are here to make the processes much more efficient in call centers, in contact centers. What we do, thanks to virtual assistants, is to automate tasks that are performed systematically in a call center, and we can do it in all channels, through a chat box or through voice recognition. So these repetitive tasks can be performed by virtual assistants in order to free people in order to carry out added value tasks, high value tasks, and thus providing a better value for companies and leave virtual assistants perform boring things. How do we include artificial intelligence in the conversation? Well, we have virtual assistants. Virtual assistants include artificial intelligence, such as voice recognition, natural voice recognition, being capable of communicating with a virtual assistant with natural language, and for it to understand us and being able of responding in the same natural language is essential. And if we go to voice, I would like to say that it's very important to count on voice analysis information in order to identify whether this person is angry or not. And when it comes to voice biometrics, it's very important to identify people by their voice when it comes to security. And then the transcription of voice into text. This is quite frequent in this technology. All this is part of the technologies that can be used under virtual assistants. Virtual assistants, furthermore, includes different elements that need to be taken into account. The first thing that we need to take into account is which users are going to use virtual assistants, who is going to get in touch with us, employees, customers, providers, and we also need to be clear about the channels that they are going to use. What channels are they going to use? Only voice or also digital channels such as WhatsApp, Telegram, social networks? Which ones? And the fundamental part of all this is the cognitive engine. The motor engine is where the intelligence is stored. There is where training needs to happen so that we can deploy it through any channel. All work carried out there can be distributed through any channel. So this cognitive engine has to be provided with guidelines so that they can understand users, and they need to learn as they get new inputs. It's very important to learn, for it to learn about inputs and about, well, and if we add this with the backing of the customer, we have the end-to-end, because at the end of the day, a virtual assistant will be able to identify users, carry out a request. All this has to be integrated. This is extremely important. And it's very important also to understand that virtual assistants need to be close to the contact center to make things much more efficient, to make the workflow much more efficient. The training also, I mean, there are many different forms of training. It can be done in Google, in Azure, in WS, in IBM Watson, amongst others. There's a long list. But let me insist on the following. No matter what we do in this cognitive motor needs to be made available in all possible channels and with the users that we consider appropriate. What benefits can we extract from virtual assistants? Well, there is no doubt that we can respond autonomously, right? We can answer to our customers autonomously. We do not to hire individuals to carry out low-value tasks. Virtual assistants are available 24/7 for any user getting in touch with us. Also, it's very important for virtual assistants to be integrated in the contact center. This provides value. Whenever a new interaction pops up through voice, through a chat box, if the virtual assistant is not ready to answer to the questions asked or needs more information or processes that cannot be solved by the virtual assistants, well, all this has to be scaled up to the contact center, provide the context to the agents, and all this has to happen in the same channel. So it's very important to integrate, to connect virtual assistants to the contact center. What else? There's another important element here, which is the following. Omni-channel. It's very important. The omni-channel is very important. I need to be able to respond to any user, through any channel, phone, social networks, any application. How do we, what does this translate into? Well, an increase in productivity, an improvement of the quality service, and in an improvement of both users and staff satisfaction levels. What use cases, classical use cases, can be carried out thanks to virtual assistants? We have gathered a few examples here. We could, of course, share many more, but the main use cases are customer service for frequently asked questions, or for tickets opening, tickets management, tickets closing. When it comes to employees, there's a demonstration which will be very interesting, I'm sure about it. When it comes to employees, as I was telling you before, it's about managing human resources, holidays, permits, payroll, doubts. There's a fax document rather, to respond on questions about the payroll. This is a very important element. Commercial management is very important to list viewings or visits automatically with no individual behind, or uploading a catalog of products and buying them through sending a payment passerelle to pay the command. Then providers management, we're gonna see a demonstration on the topic. I can have a virtual assistant so that my providers communicate with me, and I'm capable of, we'll see it in the demonstration, to gather their invoices and pay for it. This is a very important element with no need of human interaction. So here we have a demonstration. There's a demonstration about various virtual assistants that we have brought. If our customers can click here, as you can see here, we have created several demonstrations. For example, asking for a pizza. I'm sure all of you, at some point, you have called to a pizza delivery service. You call a pizza place, and there's always that picks up the phone, or perhaps they hold you waiting, they keep you waiting. It's sometimes boring, right, to call someone to ask for a pizza delivery. It becomes a complex process. So it's very simple to solve. There's a virtual assistant in the Telegram channel in this case. We have trained the bot in Dialogflow. I'm going to show you. And as you can see here, this is the cognitive motor in Dialogflow. What we have is that we have developed a bot called Bot Pizza, and we have set up intents, which are intentions, right? The intentions that the bot needs to be able to understand, must understand for the use case that we have here, which is ordering a pizza. This is the interest, right? Ordering a pizza. So what's behind the intent? There's a training, sentences training, right? We need to train the bot with common sentences about how we ask a pizza. I would like a pizza. I would like to order 3 pizzas. I want 4 cheese and pepperoni. So this training will then allow us to develop patterns, and shop attendants will need these patterns, such as what pizza would you like to order, what type of bread, where am I going to have to send the pizza, etc. So all this has been done. The bot has been trained with all these patterns. Let's see an example. Let's now open the boot. I've integrated it in Telegram. It's much more comfortable, but I believe we can integrate it in through any other means. Let's do a test here. First, we send a command, start. If I say, well, let's do something. I would like to order a pizza. So the first thing that the robot is going to ask me is, what pizza would you like? What pizza would you like? And here are the options: barbacoa, ham, Hawaii. Let's keep talking. Let's keep interacting. So what type of bread would you like? Thin or classic? I'm going to say thin. And now that's a very important question, right? Where am I going to have to send it to? Where would you like the pizza delivered? Goya Street. Number 5. Perfect. We've received your order. We'll be sending the pizza to Goya number 5 as soon as possible. We have automated a process that improves the relationship with customers and saves money, because you don't need the person picking up the phone, picking up requests, and we're doing so through Telegram. So if you prefer WhatsApp, let's use WhatsApp. And there's another element which is very important. If I speak to the bot in a natural language, because I know what it's going to ask me. If I say, for example, I would like 4 pizzas, 4 barbecue pizza, I'm going to leave it this way and see what happens. It's thinking. Oh, I forgot to say, which bread would you like? Thin. Once again, address. What would happen if I give the robot the number? It's not going to work because we've tried it before. It asks for the number again. See? There's a lack of training here. We need to provide the bot with more and more training. So, 5. Now there's a lack of training here, see? It has inserted twice the number 5. So there's an improvement that we should include here. So, now there's another one. There's another use case, quite particular one, because it has been implemented by Telefónica. Here in Telefónica we have a virtual assistant, or several virtual assistants for our staff. Today we have it in Teams. We use Teams. It's a chat. It's called 7. What can be done thanks to 7? We can open tickets, get to know the state of the different tickets, ask the frequently asked questions. This is done by, it's very cool. We'll see. Wait, I forgot to show you that 7 is not one more Teams user. No, it's integrated here in the bottom left side of the screen. In the mobile version, it's not there. It's not there, but it's in our PC, so we can speak to 7. It's integrated, and we can ask or say hello, see what happens. And here there's like information about the fact that there is a major disruption of the service. And now we'll ask to open a ticket. We'll say, I would like to open a ticket. And now the robot asks me, okay, good, let's go for it. So, first of all, which service would you like to use to open the ticket? This is quite specific of Teams. It gives you a menu. I don't need to know what service do I need to, change my mouse. So, workplace. See, this is easy. But if I ask the system, let me give you another example. My mouse is broken. This is a use case that has been automated. So the first thing that happens here is, of course, the mouse has broken. Good. Now ticket is open, category, product, type of failure, type of disruption, and it recognizes me with my ID number. So the only thing the system needs is a description. This is a use case. This is what we call a use case applied to the workplace. Another frequently asked questions that can be solved easily. When I was traveling to Barcelona, I didn't remember the URL to request a trip in Telefónica too, or travel expenses. So I'm going to ask the system, which URL should I use to book a flight? Natural language. And the robot is trained to understand what I'm asking. And the answer is company travel is managed through SSGG. You can click here. If I click here, I am redirected to the website of the company that provides travel services to Telefónica. And there are many other use cases. Siete is fed by all the information that staff informs about. Perhaps the system cannot respond, but it does a roadmap. If we keep asking him about where do I have to stay my holidays this summer, so those behind Siete realize that they should try and respond to this, right? Now, last, and I will hand it over to Juanma, we have developed a virtual assistant for providers. Say that a building company allows us providers the possibility to speak with their virtual assistant. We're speaking about a building company here. Dialogflow, Telegram. Hello, good morning. So, as a provider, I need to know what I can do with this virtual assistant. So, what I'm going to ask here is, what are the what options are there available? There's an answer. Hello, welcome to our virtual assistant. We have identified your user. You are one of our main providers or suppliers. So I've been identified. There's integration. So these are the solutions offered. And I have a menu here in Telegram. So I can check the different stores available, get in touch with an agent, etc. And here I introduce the address. And I could go to the store, mobile. Can I help you? With something else? Yes. Automation of invoicing. I'm going to send an invoice. How many documents are you going to upload? One. Good. Now upload your PDF documents, image, Word, Excel, and we'll process and issue the payment automatically. So I have here, I have my invoice. I don't know if you're going to see it. I have my invoice with a different amount, descriptions, and price. I have it in a PDF document, and I'm going to send it to the virtual assistant. Okay. I'm going to send the invoice here, the document, and there we go. What would happen from now on? Well, traditionally there would be someone behind who would have to double check the document and issue the payment manually. But I believe there's a automatic payment technology, isn't there? Juanma, tell us more about it. This is not a simple process. How many suppliers do we have? Well, depending on the size of the company. I was with a customer recently who has 100 suppliers. And there are as many ways of sending an invoice as customers or suppliers, right? We can automate or process everything, payrolls, CVs, etc. But for that, first we need to understand what are we receiving and where are the data that are relevant to me. It is also true that there's oftentimes a team behind that receive all the digital documents and spend hours and hours to upload interesting data to our systems, right? But this can be replaced through these intelligent document processing system that converts this structured information, images, pictures, or any sort of document into usable data, usable information with all the necessary structure so that it can be processed or fed to any system. And here is where artificial intelligence plays a key role. Machine learning, for example. As I said before, we need to train the system through different models by uploading many invoices, if we're speaking about invoices, so that the system understands that no matter what it receives, well, it has to be able of spotting what it needs. And here are the different stages, right? The first stage does not apply, perhaps. There is no such thing as a machine learning interesting technology. This is a bot that will take all these documents, any sort of document, even an email, even a written email, any form of document. It will push it into the system, into this intelligent processing system. And the first thing that will be done, well, we have OCR, we have an improvement of image detection patterns, noise, clearing. In some pictures there are errors, so all this is solved, no problem. And once all this information is available, it classifies it. Then we start with this cognitive engine, and we implement machine learning technology for the system to understand that if the context is understood, it can be interpreted. And thus, understanding that this is an invoice and I have been programmed to pay this invoice, right? What do I need to know? Who is sending it to me? Total amount, VAT. If it was a CV, it would be other things, right? So we extract things. Then there is a second element that needs to be taken into account, and this is validation. Oftentimes, if we train the system, we don't need to ask humans anymore. The system is going to move on because it has gone over the trust threshold, right? So if there's a 95% correction rate, let's move on. Otherwise, the system will raise an alarm and say, there's a problem here. I need you to intervene. Tell me what's happening here, because I'm going to learn from my mistakes, right? And probably next time I will not bother you anymore. This happens in very few cases. But of course, the system needs to be trained in order to be improved, and then it can be exported in any format, CSW, XLS, so that the robot, the not intelligent robot, can do a copy-paste into any system. What are the main benefits of this system? As Bruno already said, well, I believe that no one is interested in these boring tasks, fatiguing tasks. There's an increase in productivity. You will realize now in the demonstration that the system can gather the information very quickly and export data before we had to open the document, etc., etc. It improves quality. If the system is well pre-trained, the boot will not fail you. We're speaking about an automatism that has been trained, so there's a very small margin of error. It improves efficiency. The time for data extraction is measured in milliseconds. It's very quick and it's very easy to use. I'm not gonna explain that. We're gonna see it live to understand how to gather data, how to obtain information, and it's easy to implement. This is about robotisation. This is not a tedious process, no. The robot is like a person, so when you clear the robot to interact with other systems, it does easily. Use cases, as we said before, here we can use, we can, technical documents. The system has to be able to link the technical document of the product with the requirements for the end product. This is easy. Logistics, automatic update of the stock, That would be easy to develop also. Finance. The example that we're going to see, has to do with a use case that Bruno mentioned. An invoice that we receive through a virtual assistant. Can we see the demonstration, please? Good. Here comes the demonstration. So before moving on, let me tell you that this is the system, the cipher. This is a system belonging to Blue Princeton, a world-known RPA developer. They are the ones that have shared this demonstration with us. Let's start. So someone has to feed the system with a document. So first of all, we need to feed the system. For that, we'll need an RPA. The boot will connect through the cipher. It will take all the images. Not necessarily only one. In this demonstration, there's one, but not necessarily only one. It can be a full package of 100 documents, 100 images. And what we'll do here is to upload the document that Bruno sent. Let's click play, refresh, and play. See? Now it's running the system. This goes through background at super high speed. But of course, first we need to introduce the document before we move into the cipher platform, which is going to be the one recognizing the document. We have prepared the document for it to fail. I'm going to show you the Excel sheet it comes up with. I have pre-trained the system poorly so that it asks questions. What I've done in the system is, well, the system is used to receiving invoices, no? Right? And I told the system, well, I've sent 4 pages invoices. The system is used to receiving 2 pages or 3 pages maximum invoices. So now it's interpreting that perhaps we're speaking about 2 invoices here in one PDF document. And this is the first failure, and we have made a mess for the system to ask us things. And then there's another mistake. One of the calculations didn't work well. To make sure that the system recognizes a mistake in an invoice. And the first thing we see here in the cipher is the welcome page. The welcome page where the system gives you data, the generic data, about how many documents have been processed and how many have been needed. You can see it here. How many have required a verification, and see here, now we go to data verification. Let's upload the document and see what's wrong, because there's a mistake. So here's the information that I've asked the system to extract. Typical information in any invoice, right? Reference number, VAT, total amount, subtotal. You can see here all the pages and all the documents. There's something quite surprising. See? Document number 1, document number 2, document number 4 and 3. And this is due to the fact that, well, I've done so many times the same old process. I did like 3 or 4, but now the system has learned. I did it 5 times, and the 4th page has not been recognized as the following. Since I have corrected it many times now, it's confirming my theory. Page number 4 belongs to document number 1.
And the only information it's asking me for is the date, for example. And I'm going to zoom in. And it is doing a framework of all the information. So the date is correct and it's already introduced. And even this chart that you see here, and it is a table, and the table has been created. And then I move to the next page. This page, I can see the table, and in the third one, I can see the VAT, the shipment, and I am disaggregating the information so that you can see that it works, despite the fact that there is a lot of information. Normally, invoices are not that long. So VAT, 15, it matches the shipment, 20, 85. But then what happens with the system? There is something that is not matching. Was this in page 2, or if I zoom in? .50, so it's correct. And it's telling me that it doesn't match because it says 41. So are there any mistakes that I should double check why it is not matching? I go back to the table and I zoom in again so that you can see it. And then I see that all the information is included. So it's 41.5, but it says 50. So if I focus on the information, the second line, you see the mouse? The nails, it's multiplying per 100. And it is not giving me the number, because it's 10. So what I can do is correct it. So, okay. And just with this detail, it has double-checked that it's included. And this has a level of trust of 100% because it has been a human introduction, or a human correction, so to say. And for example, if there are some fields that are not filled in, they are going to be in red. And so it's like you're feeding the information, and it's pre-trained. And then in the end, we send it, we submit it, and then I'm going to have an Excel table and any other system, and then you continue. And it could work even at night while we are asleep. And this is the idea. It's pretty easy. This interface, click, click, and that's it. And we've been able to automatize using artificial intelligence technology, things that would need a human component. And well, this would be all. I don't know if there are any questions. Would it be feasible to create a virtual assistant for an insurance company? Well, yeah, it's a classical use, an insurance company having this virtual assistant. A user of the company has a claim or whatever. Then we can give them the opportunity to talk to our virtual assistant, and then the user can give information about the road, the location, and then and upload pictures of the crash or the breakdown. And also using this technology, the IDP technology, we can send all the information. So could these claims be processed in an automatic way? Yes, because we need to explain that there is a new system, new claims, and we have to pre-train it, all different types of claims, so that it gets used to all the different types of reports, right? Or even, for example, of different companies. And this is very easy. Let's feed the system. And these are different types of claims, and we can use this human component, a human being that can explain, can pre-train, and then it will keep on learning, and then it will not ask again. If there are no more questions, thank you very much, and thank you for everybody here from home or from your works. Thank you very much, your jobs. Thank you very much. Your